Joining me right now is Virginia Congressman and Judiciary Committee Chairman Bob Goodlatte. Mr. Chairman, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good to be with you, Maria.
Tell us what you are looking to learn from these hearings this morning. We're all having a debate on whether it's really what we're looking at is one phone or a new code that will, of course, enable a lot more.
Oh, it's definitely a lot more than one phone, because law enforcement agencies and prosecutors across the country will tell you that they have in their possession hundreds, if not more, phones right now that they would like to have access to. So the creation of a key to get into this phone is going to set a precedent, and the key itself will become a target for those who want to get access to hundreds of millions of Apple phones, and then, of course, other devices all across the country and around the world. So encryption is a very good thing, an important thing. It has protected people's privacy, but it also, we shouldn't overlook this, keeps people safe. It makes sure that we don't have various types of crimes. We don't have foreign governments hacking into places. And, oh, guess what? They are doing just that now because our encryption isn't strong enough.
Right.
So there should be a debate about how to make encryption better and at the same time get good cooperation with law enforcement to get access to information law enforcement has a lawful warrant to get access to without compromising people's safety and privacy and their constitutional rights.
It sounds like what you're saying is Apple should not give in to this pressure, because it's only going to make the American people vulnerable, and vulnerable from bad actors in the U.S. as well as internationals.
Well, Apple should take the position that it believes protects its customers. The courts obviously are playing a role in this, and not all on the law enforcement side. Just yesterday we had a New York U.S. magistrate rule the opposite way with regard to another device, saying that they couldn't use the All Writs Act, a 220-year-old statute that clearly wasn't written in contemplation of these kind of circumstances. So that's why the Judiciary Committee is holding this hearing today, and why we've been working on encryption previously. In fact, this hearing was scheduled before the Apple FBI controversy broke out. So this is an issue that Congress needs to address, not the courts, not a commission, but Congress needs to address it with careful deliberation from all the different sources of input, and we're going to start getting more of that today.
So, Congressman, at what point, how soon will you have legislation out there to lay out how law enforcement gets access with a valid search warrant or court order to information on a phone? Because the way the phones are going, Apple won't even be able to get into the phones, and they will be basically cover and a safe harbor for terrorists and even child molesters.
Right, but also they will be a safe harbor against what we're seeing now, where foreign governments, hackers, criminal enterprises are getting into government agencies and stealing millions, if not billions, of records of law-abiding citizens, retail organizations, financial institutions. They're all suffering not from lack of, they're suffering because there's not strong enough protection and encryption now. So the solution is not simply to say, let's pass a law that says law enforcement gets access under these circumstances, because that sets a precedent that gives access to a whole host of different ways that people intending ill will can exploit that and utilize that.
Very important what you're saying, yep.
Congressman, but Apple
and it is important that we study this carefully and not rush to legislation, but work toward finding solutions.
But if you don't move with speed, then you have criminal cases that are basically not being fully investigated, potentially including that terrorism case out in California. Apple wants you guys to move. The courts want you guys to move. I know the FBI wants you guys to move. So when?
We're all ears from all of those sources to give us ideas on how we can go about doing that, but we shouldn't rush to bad conclusions because that puts us in circumstances where we could make the problem worse, not better.
Now, I understand. Let me get Morgan Ortagus in here. Go ahead, Morgan.
Congressman, good morning. I see the two big national security issues at play are, of course, ISIS and terrorists being able to use the iPhone, being able to go on the iPhone right now and use WhatsApp to plan a terror attack against us, versus, of course, China and Iran getting this information. How do you reconcile these two competing national security priorities, which I think are mutually exclusive and are very dangerous right now the way it is?
Well, certainly terrorists are going to find new ways to communicate with each other. They always have. But creating weaknesses in encryption technology is not going to be the solution. So we have to find ways that give law enforcement access to information that they lawfully need to have without creating those weaknesses. And let's not forget that it's not just Apple and U.S. companies that are going to be facing this challenge. And you're going to have businesses and even criminal enterprises and foreign governments who are going to develop their own technology to communicate that we're not going to have law enforcement or intelligence agencies able to crack. So weakening the good guys who are trying to create stronger encryption to keep people safe from terrorist attacks and from criminal activities of all kinds is not the solution to the problem. We are hard at work searching for that solution, however.
Congressman, we'll be watching. Thanks so much. Congressman Bob Goodlatte there.